Hello, everyone. I am so glad you could join us today. Today is a really special day, so we're going to wait till everybody gets in the room so that we can start and nobody misses out on anything. If you are just coming in, if you can, please put where your name and where you're coming from. Actually, I can see your names, but tell me where you're coming from. What city and what state or what country? Wherever you're coming from, we'd love to know. Okay. Oh, hi, Priya from Queens, New York. Lovely. One of my favorite places. Monica, thank you. San Diego. That's where I was born and raised. Natalie, San Francisco. Okay. We've got California represented. Oh, San Jose, Marisol. Thank you for coming. Keisha Moore, Chicago. Great. Thank you for coming in. We're still waiting for a few more people that I know signed up, so I want to make sure they are all here when we get started. Oh, more coming in. If you're just coming in, please tell us where you are calling in from. Camille, Atlanta. Oh, I love Atlanta. Great. Lauren from Austin. Perfect. I love Austin. We did some major karaoke there. Hannah Rosen, Boston. Oh, I love Boston. Seattle, Teresa, thank you for coming. Houston, Texas, we've got the biggest state in the country represented. Phoenix, Arizona. So we've got two very warm places represented. I'm sure it's really hot there now. Denver, Colorado, Leah, so cool. Detroit, Jasmine, fabulous. Wow, we've got every region covered here in the United States. It's so wonderful to see you all. If you're just coming in, if you could please just tell us where you're coming from. We want to know who's in the room and who we're celebrating with and who is actually getting to meet our superstar rock star, Godliver, who we'll be bringing in momentarily. Great. Valerie from New Orleans. Yes, New Orleans. Kendra from Minneapolis. Oh, I was there for quite a bit of time. One of my first organizations was based in New Prague, so it's nice to see you. Imani from Philadelphia. Very cool. And Ruth from Nashville. Wow, great. We've got, like I said, we are covering the whole United States. So we're excited to have you all here. Again, if you're coming in, please tell us where you're coming from. We want to know who's in the room, and we want to be able to celebrate with all of you, especially as we're introducing one of my favorite people in the world who has just done extraordinary work all over East Africa, getting recognized all over the world because of her groundbreaking, pioneering efforts as an female engineer in sub-Saharan Africa. So before I introduce you to her, let me tell you a little bit about She Builds Power, because power for us it doesn't mean empowerment. I mean, I know that's a fabulous word and we use it a lot because it implies that we are making sure that people have power to influence and power to solve their own problems and power to take advantage of opportunities. But one of the things that I've been having struggle with, in my own vocabulary is that empower somehow implies that, like for an organization like us, as trainers, we are actually giving power to another group when really what I've seen in almost 2 decades of work that we've been doing in sub-Saharan Africa and Asia before that is that women have this incredible power already within them. And they are able to, when we are training them in water and sanitation solutions, to be able to build water systems in their community to bring clean water and health for those who are bringing healthy food to their families and taking out loans and building businesses. They were absolutely capable of doing such things because they have already been able to spread, to take a dollar and make it last for days, maybe even weeks. They've been able to manage to take care of their families with very little resources. They've already had the power to do this. All we are doing as She Builds Power is being able to offer skills so that they can take what they already know and be able to uplift themselves and have bigger opportunities. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is the capacity for women to be able to bring clean water to their communities, which is such a huge, huge accomplishment because water affects women the most. And because of the lack of water, women can't work, girls can't go to school because they actually have spent almost their entire day fetching water and doing water related chores. So the fact that women can actually bring these solutions to their community, not only is it serving their community, but it uplifts their status. People start seeing them more as solutionaries, I like to call them, rather than passive recipients of projects. They are actually taking the lead in the essential needs that their community have. So all of that said, now I want to introduce one of the most ridiculously cool women I have ever met in my life. Godliver, I met Godliver when we were hosting our first Women in Water training in Sub-Saharan Africa, in East Africa it was in 2011. And we wanted to make sure that all of the women who were learning how to build these toilets, these water tanks, these rainwater harvesting systems, these water filters, that we had women teaching them, because we wanted the women to be able to feel comfortable and know that another woman is doing this and that they were capable of doing it. And to be honest, when we were looking all over the country, the only person we could find was Godliver. So Godliver came to us as this angel, as this blessing, because we saw what it looks like for a woman to train a local woman to train another local woman to be able to learn how to bring solutions to their community. And it was astounding to see the kind of impact that she's had. I want to tell you a little bit more about her, and then we're going to ask her about her history and her background. So Godliver has recently, she was named one of the 100 African women leading Africa's WASP future by the African Water and Sanitation Association. This was their first inaugural group of women that they were honoring. So it's amazing and not at all a surprise that Godliver was named one of them. She has also been featured in Thomson Reuters, and also in national newspapers like New Vision in Uganda, where she has been recognized as a role model, a superhero, all of these wonderful things. And she's also won an award from Lily Arajova, and it's an award that she also shares with the likes of Malala and Wangari Maathai. So she's in great company, and I believe she's in the company that she deserves to be in. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to, like I said, one of my favorite people in the world, Godliver Businge. Hi, Godliver. Welcome.
Hi, Gemma. Hi, everyone.
Wonderful. So you're calling in from Kenya, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm calling in from Kenya, and I'm excited to be here with everyone.
Exactly. And so actually tell us why you're in Kenya. I think you're on well number 4, right?
Yeah, we are on well number 4 right now. I'm in Kenya because I'm constructing and working with the women, trying to uplift them, trying to make sure that they have clean water near to themselves, near to their homes. That's what I'm doing right now.
That's amazing. So for those of you who are just tuning in and are not aware, we are actually in the middle of a 7 wells in 7 weeks campaign. Godliver has been on the road where they're shoveling her back and carrying her cement trowel. I'm just making that up. But she's basically going from village to village, training more and more women to be able to build spring wells. So I wanted to talk a little bit about your background first before we move into what you're actually doing in the field right now, a little bit, telling us a little bit more detail. So I wanted to ask you, so before you became one of East Africa's leading water engineers, there was a young girl who chose engineering when very few women did. Where did that dream begin, and what made you stay when you were often the only woman in the room?
Yes, there's been a young girl behind all these achievements, and my dream to become an engineer began when I was very young. I'm a girl who grew up in Kivale, in a rural village, being raised by the mother who was the only person who believed in me. But the dream to become an engineer really was seeing my father not care about how my mother suffered walking long distances to fetch water, how my mother would cook outside in the sun, how would it rain? It would rain on her. I'm the last born at home. I have 6 brothers, but I felt that I need to change something. Why is it that it's only men who have to do men stuff? Why can't I be a woman who can do a man stuff? So I went, cut logs, and put a temporary structure for my mother so that she doesn't have to be rained on. That was my spark. I realized I can do more than this. I realized it's not only my mother who is suffering. I realized there are many young girls like me who would walk, go look for firewood, or go look for water far away. So I believed I need to break the stereotypes. I need to go to school, study engineering, and be a rock star. And I'm very proud my dream is coming true. Thank you.
Especially the rock star piece. Godliver, I see Godliver in the field just like running the entire construction site. You do that and you do that. You know, not only women following her lead, but men too. She's extraordinary. So tell me a little bit about that. It sounds to me like you had a difficult time because there was only one person in the world who was supporting you. What was the hardest moment when you were growing up and wanting to have this dream and wanting to see this dream come true?
The hardest point growing up, you've already mentioned it, is just having one person who believed in me, because my father was abusive and my father never supported a girl child to go to school. So having one person who believed me, I felt really pulled down, and I grew up a bit with some low self-esteem. But then, because of what she was going through and the love I had for the women and men, at least one person was like an inspiration. It was like a motivator and saying, hey, you can do it. You can go to school. And that's how I managed to join school. But also, just being one young lady who really wants to do what men do and actually do it better was tough. But I'm here now. So, yeah.
You are. And I know there's a wonderful story about you going to and getting your engineering certificate, and you were the only woman in the room. Tell me about that experience. I know it must have been really hard, especially with your culture.
Yeah, it was really, I love sharing this story, going to this college and being the only girl out of 29 boys. It was really tough because you'd imagine our tutor or a trainer would encourage a woman like me. But actually, he would actually literally say, these things are for men. Godva, you're not going to manage. So even boys themselves, they're like, come on, Godva, what are you doing here? But with my background growing up and having someone who's pushing me and having the passion and the desire to see girls be better than they are already, to see mothers save the burden that they already have, I told them I'm going to challenge them. And I remember the first example in the school was going to just do some prototypes or model. And they said, I can't imagine. But that was the time when I was the best. But then that's when I was selected now for a huge model where we had to design an ideal homestead. So I'm really grateful that fine, I kept being pushed backwards, but just believing in myself, it just kept pushing me. And I'm really grateful that I managed to step up and be where I am right now.
Amazing. So you alluded to, and I want to learn more about this because I love this story, and I think our audience needs to know this story as well. You alluded to building or designing the ideal homestead. So tell us about that experience. Tell us the challenges you faced, and then what ended up happening.
So I love that story, Gemma, as well. So I'm very sorry if I get a bit emotional at some point, but this is my story, so you'll apologize for that. But the experience, I said, like, being in that college and not being believed in. And then I reached a point where I was selected as 4 students who had to design an ideal homestead for 2030 in Uganda. Still, I had negative energy. My teacher saying, Godliver, you're not going to manage. But I already had proved to them that I can do better than this. So we designed this homestead and I become even the best. And why is this? Because I designed this home from real life experience. I designed this home looking back at what my mother, at what other girls were going through, walking long distances for water, going firewood, going to the bush for sanitation. I'm like, why don't I teach these people to build toilet? Why don't I have a bison filter at home so that this girl takes clean, safe water? Why don't I train this woman how to become a mason and a trainer, be able to build the tank for herself? So I put all that behind my back and I designed this home to make sure that the woman will just get out, fetch water. The woman can feel safe just going to the sanitation facility. The woman has a kitchen garden where you can feed your children, or a woman has some business, maybe a portrait shed, so that she can make money, take her kids to school. So I designed it from that angle. But when I look at my fellow, why I was the best is because my other students, fellow students, designed it as just a building with all these details, with solar panels, with electricity, fancy with internet. But in Uganda by then, who is going to afford that? These are women, these are children who have been burdened a lot. So by just putting that real life experience to my design, I was selected the best. So that's how it was. And I'm happy to say that this model is built at the institute, at the college, with my name on it. So one time you can tell Gemma to bring you to Uganda and see this. Yeah.
So, do you hear that, everyone? Godliver is inviting you to Uganda, which I think would make a wonderful trip. If you are interested in that, say yes in the chat. Oh, great. Keisha will take you. Simone, absolutely. Teresa, pack your bags. All right, Sophia, Jasmine, Nina. All right. Looks like everybody wants to join you, Godliver. And I don't blame them. You are an incredible, incredible inspiration.
Everyone is welcome.
Great. There's even more coming. All right, Amara. Okay, Morgan. All right, we've got a whole crew, so we're gonna have to charter a plane just to come see you, Godliver. Okay, so
all right.
so correct me if I'm wrong, Godliver, but I remember you also saying, and maybe I'm wrong, but wasn't there, when you designed the homestead, didn't you add things that the men did not think about, that were traditional, that are maybe a woman would be the only person to think about putting in? What were they?
So yes, I added details. I added things that my fellow students did not add. For example, like I said, just bringing water nearer. The boys would not think about that. But having a water tank closer, that knew that in 2030, every Ugandan, every woman would have water closer. They don't have to walk long distances. But then we are also saying food, because you're only bringing water, but then this woman needs to feed the family. This woman, all the burden is on her. Then I'm like, can we put a kitchen garden for this woman? But then I'm also thinking about safety, because personally growing up, sanitation was an issue, like really. So I was like, if I brought a toilet, a clean bathroom closer to this home, then that means the girl is not going to worry going to the bush. Safety is guaranteed. So those are really, there are so many details, but those are the key details that I put in that others did not think about. And those are technologies that can easily be done locally by anyone. Because if you're building these area water tanks, bringing these fancy flashing toilets, who can afford? How many people will afford that? So I looked at that angle of affordability, cost effective, able to make sure that everyone can afford, everyone can access. So those are some of the details that I put into this.
So people are saying, oh my goodness, they're saying things like, I can't believe that. How can the boys not think about that? That's amazing. Of course, that was my question as well. It's like, we as Americans and people who are from the global, from the West, that is automatic. We have water in our house. We have toilets in our house. When we're living on our own land, we have areas if we want to have gardens, but many people just have not food gardens, but beautiful, gardens that look really nice, right? But not our food bearing. And so the fact that you, as a woman, were the only one who thought about water, sanitation, and food in the household, it just shows you the magnitude of the burden that the women have. They have to provide water, they have to cook food, they have, when they go to the restroom and when they go and defecate or openly, use the restroom in the fields, there is such a high risk of them getting attacked. And so here you are solving the burdens of women who, when they have water close by, when they have sanitation, when they have gardens, they can feed their families, they can, go closer to home to bring the water, and then they can be safe. Just those three things, Godliver, you thought about, but it just tells you that men don't, it's not a priority for them, is what I'm saying. So thank you for doing that.
That's very true. Yeah.
And I certainly hope that every Ugandan has your house by 2030. I think that would be amazing. Okay, so now we're here. We've learned about your history and how you got here as an engineer. So let's talk about what you're doing right now. So you were in the middle of a 7 wells in 7 weeks. You were the one who decided to do that. We weren't the ones saying, hey, Godliver, how many wells do you think you're going to be able to build in the next, few weeks? You're like, I think we can do 7 wells in 7 weeks. When we were like, oh my gosh, we'll take, we'll absolutely support you in every way you can do that. She's been on the road for now 3.5, 4 weeks. She started on June 22nd. They are in the middle of, I think they're just finishing their 4th well. So that means you are on track. If you build 1 a week for the next 3 weeks, you are on track to build those 7 wells. So tell us about what that experience has been.
I think how that experience has been of being on the road consecutive and building these wells, for me, I would say it has been so inspiring and so motivating because, first of all, I'm not doing it alone, you see. I have women who are with me. So just having women around me and we are carrying stones, casting slabs and all that, it's like working with my mother. So for me, it gives me pride. It shows that I'm just transforming these women because as soon as I'm leaving each site, the women are like, Godliver, we are going to look for another spring and build it. So for me, that is an inspiration. But also having the audience, people who have been following me and seeing what I've been doing, that is also an inspiration to me. Knowing that people are there supportive and willing to support the work that I've been doing. Yes, I'm a bit tired, but it doesn't really change who I am, because even now I'm still smiling because after this call, I'm going back on site to get going. But for me, it has been a good experience, and just seeing people, these are women who already have the skills. They just need to uplift. They just need to be guided on what to do, and they will be able to do it. So I'm not doing anything unique, but it's just triggering and making sure that everyone walks the journey with me. And I'm very proud for this.
So I'm going to give you another viewpoint on what you just said. You are doing so much. You're doing way more than you think. You're not just training women. You are providing them an opportunity to solve their own issues and to be able to bring their communities together. I mean, it's astounding when we see, what the women were able to do when they learned how to do this last year, and now how they've mobilized communities to be able to build it together. Tell us about sort of that process. What do women do because they can't build it. You can't build it by yourself. The three of you can't build it by yourself. What is that process? Tell me about that.
So the process that we have been going through to build all these springs so far is that we inform these women, and these women work hard to mobilize their communities. We make sure that if, as you're mobilizing, we need men on board. We need men to support. But at the back of our mind, we also want to show that we women can do better than them. So, but yeah, but this is exciting, having men on board and supporting what women are doing. Actually, I remember when Elizabeth was pushing the wheelbarrow, and then the man was like, "You women have done a lot. Elizabeth, can I just please allow me to just help?" For me, that is really like inspiring, because they are supportive instead of challenging, like how before it used to be. So after these women mobilizing their communities, they look for resources. Because we don't have money to fund them. We are saying, can we confund? Can we work together and look for all locally available materials? So these women talk to their elders. These women look for hardcore. They look for stones. They look for cement. They look for bricks locally. Actually, for us, we come in with the expertise. Expertise and saying, but we still need your knowledge, because these people are knowledgeable. It's just a switch. Because you realize I'm teaching and someone's like, no, Godliver, if we do it like this, it's going to work. So once these women have all these materials together and they have the community ready for us, then we get on ground and then get going. But we work with them from day 1 up to day 5 until the spring is done. So I'm really grateful that we have that opportunity of having a community buy-in, and that means sustainability, ownership. They will love this thing, because there are some women who have even land near these springs. So the women are like, Godliver, I'm going to grow here through like the vegetables in Kenya. That's what people want a lot. But for me, this has been a great process, and I'm so excited that we have been supported by all corners. We have even people from the national government, from the ministry, coming on ground to see what women are doing. It's so hard to get these people out of their offices, but because they are seeing the women rocking and bringing, like opening their own opportunities, like bringing water closer to them and their communities and the family, that has really driven me. And it has also given me a go ahead, because when you're supported, it really, I sleep when I'm happy knowing I'm looking forward to another day.
You know, the part that I love about this model, we train the women and then they go back and you are in the field with them to make sure that they're able to apply the training that they learned in that, what we would call a core training, where we'd have 2 women from each village come and then they bring the information back. And the thing is, when you go on site, part of what what Godliver does is she will train the women who learned, who came to our core training, those 2 women. They will take the lead. They will mobilize a community. They'll get the community to donate resources like sand, water, bricks, things like that, so that the cost is even lower, because we give them half the amount of money they need, and they are challenged to raise the other half. But they don't need to necessarily raise money. They just raise materials, and they volunteer and they come together to do it. And so then those 2 women train more women and men who come, and then those women train more. So essentially, over this last 15 years, Godliver has trained over 12,700 men and women all over East Africa using this model. Because it's train the trainer again, train that new trainer, and train that next trainer, right? And it's been astounding to watch. And so it's this ripple effect, and it's like Godliver is like the drop of water that starts the ripple, which is what I love. So I'm gonna challenge you. We didn't actually tell Godliver we were gonna share this, but I'm gonna give you 3 of the sites that you've just finished, and I want you to tell us a little bit about what might have happened there, that might have been, something that surprised you about, the community. And so I wanted to challenge you. We've got 8. Oh no, 4. Sorry, 4 different sites. Yeah, these are the 4 sites that you're working on. Tell us a little bit if there's anything interesting about any of these sites. So we have the before and the after. The before and the after. So, Godliver, I think maybe you can start by telling us, why are we building spring wells and not the wells like everyone is used to seeing, the wells with the hand pumps? What's different between the spring wells and the hand pump wells?
Thank you so much, Gemma. So personally, why I think we are building the spring wells, or why we are concentrating on spring wells now, because spring wells are serving the whole community. Because before we used to do water tanks, you put it in a school, it will serve the school community. You put it in a church, it will serve the church. You put it in a home. But one thing I've realized, by having a spring well, that means you've supported so many people in the community, including the women that I'm so passionate about, and the children, so that water is closer. But also the spring wells, these are almost everywhere in each community. Though our governments are coming up and bringing national water and all these expensive pipes, and not every woman, not every child, not most of the families can afford this. And yet with the spring well, you just identify which kind of spring is that. What do I need to do? And yet also, like, people are willing to support and contribute, whereby we just need local available materials. So I think that is another reason why. But also spring wells are easily selected using locally available materials, like I said. So you don't need to sweat. You don't need to go to Nairobi to buy these materials. They are got from the community. So it makes it locally, it makes all the materials locally available, easy for people to raise and support. So it makes it easy. That's why I'm happy that we are concentrating on the spring wells at the moment.
So tell me just what the material, you talk about locally available materials. Tell me the materials you use here to build a spring well.
So some of the materials that we use to build the spring wells, one, we use bricks, blocks. And in most cases, before we go to the site, we can even encourage our 2 core women, if they can make these blocks themselves, because we have supported these women with block making machines. Can you support yourselves, or can you make them? Because you're making them from maram and cement, maram, which is got from everyone's compound anywhere. So we are also using stones. Stones are everywhere. Actually, I've realized Kenya is more stony. Like, there are many stones in Kenya. So you can easily get stones from someone's compound. But then we're also saying we need aggregates. These are also easily got from someone's compound. And then we need, like, we are even saying for cement, if you cannot afford to buy cement, which is expensive, can you use clay? Because clay does a very good work. So we don't want people to say, I don't have money for cement. You can get that clay and still protect a spring that will bring clean water and serve communities.
I love that you didn't say a huge metal pump. I love that you didn't say you have to hire a contractor to dig the well. I love that you didn't say that you had to go outside of your own village, of your own town to get the materials. That is one of the reasons we focus as She Builds Power on spring wells, because many springs are everywhere. So Godliver, I know that some of those hand dug wells, or the dug wells with the hand pumps, some of them you can't guarantee are clean. What can we say about the spring wells, about the cleanliness of the water? Because if you look at these pictures, the water doesn't look clean at all. They're filthy. So how do we guarantee that it's clean?
Yeah, thank you so much, Gemma. So how we guarantee that our springs are clean? We protect the water, the eyes, or the source. Because other people will dig, you put a well, a shallow well, but you just put a lid. Any person who is jealous or wants to hurt anyone can come and throw in anything. So what we do, if you look at the first picture here, this is how the water was, and people can draw it and use it at home. But we scoop the whole thing out, clean, open the eyes, open those natural eyes that are coming from underground or coming from the rocks. After doing that, put stones. We put hardcore big stones first. Then you put small stones next. Then you put some sand. And even you put charcoal, because it's like a natural filter down there. Then what we do, put a mesh and cover the whole thing up. So you're only seeing water flowing from the outlet pipe, but we have covered the source. That means with time, within 1 week or 2 weeks, we should have clean, safe water, because it's naturally coming from the ground and no one is tampering with it. No one is seeing it. So it guarantees safety, and people are really extremely happy, Gemma. Like, people are happy with what we did or what we are doing. Yeah.
I agree. And I can understand why, because if you look at this before, here's the water that people used to use. We've seen spring wells, which are, or springs that are, they basically look like ponds, but they have water constantly flowing through them because the eye of the spring is releasing water. And so if you see this is, and people, you see people collecting the water. Sometimes there'll be like something like a plank to walk on so they can lean over and grab it. We've had stories of pregnant women falling in and children falling in. And so essentially, you know, what Godliver was explaining, they take they find the source of the eye, and then they cover it all up, but then they build this structure around it, and then they put that water filter with the slow sand filter with the charcoal in it. And if you notice, you can't see it very well, but this is clean water coming out. And people love it because it's not only clean, but it's cold because it's going through a natural filtration process, which is sand. And so that's one of the reasons we focus on it, because one, you get local materials. Two, it's naturally flowing, constantly flowing water, because the eye of the spring is constantly pushing out water. And as it's pushing out water and going through the filter, it's clean. Three, women can build it. They don't need a big drill to drill anything. They can do this on their own. And what's been so, yes, and that's exactly right, Godliver. So tell us more about that. Why is it important that, you know, because so many organizations out there are doing the wells, because the drilled wells with the boreholes, the hand pumps, those are what people see all over. What is the difference between them? Why do you see women? Why is it better for women to do these than to do the drilled well?
The difference I see with the springs being constructed and done by the women, and all these fancy boreholes in communities, because they have not involved a woman. Because I believe we are the burden bearers. We know what it feels to have water at home. We know what it feels to drink clean water. We know what it feels to have your children fetch water that is nearer clean. So by working with the women, because we are burdened and we know what it feels, that means there is guaranteed protection. They will protect this spring because they know what it means with them. And also, our springs, we are involving the community. Others come in with money, and then you bring all these expensive technicians who are drilling and filing. You're not even training them. You're not showing them the importance why you're doing it. You're not engaging them themselves. So I think that's why they are failing. That's what I think. But I think by involving a woman, like the saying always goes, you involve a woman, the whole nation will benefit. And then a man, a single individual. And I said earlier, that for men, when I was doing my design, you're thinking about what you love here. I'm sorry, whoever is listening, but I feel for the women, they're thinking about everyone. So it's not only them, they're thinking about the neighbors. So that's why this is a very good technology that we are going ahead with. And Gemma, I just wanted to share an example of this one down, the spring with a rock. If you notice on the before, it was open. Water is coming from the rock, but it's open. It's not safe. The community is saying people throw in all the rubbish inside at the top. and then that means it's not safe. But if I protected it and it's coming from a rock, a natural rock, actually you can even test it and bottle it in future because it's naturally filtered and it's clean. Actually, the community told us this water is too cold. One of the men said, I'm going to bring I think Kenya Bureau of Standards or something to test the water. And if it's good, the village is going to benefit because it's going to start bottling it. So for me, that is something that the community loves. That is something that the community is going to protect and love. So I think let's just involve the women and the community at large.
I love that. And if you notice here, so this is naturally flowing. You don't put a spigot on it. This water is constantly flowing. And Godliver, you actually worked on some springs where the flow rate is very fast, and you have not just one. Here you have two. On some of them you have four. So give me a sort of a comparison of how long it takes for somebody to fill up a jerry can. These are jerry cans, they're 5 gallons. How much it takes to fill up a jerry can with a hand dug with a pump, and one for a spring that is naturally flowing.
So first of all, I will first say with the pump, you're using energy, you're using your power to pump this out. And some of these wells like dry out if you don't identify a real eye or spring that is bringing out water. And then, like you said, with our springs, water is flowing naturally throughout. So I guess some of you could even be wondering why some designs are different, because first of all, the geography, topography, all springs are totally different. We had experience where we had small pressure, like on the one at the right, at the top. After, if you notice, the pipes are slightly smaller. And why we realized if we put a pipe with less diameter, then at least it doesn't take long for water to enter the pipes and come out. But then we have also tested in our jerry can, one of the spring that didn't have a lot of pressure, it just takes 2 minutes to have a jerry can, a 20-liter jerry can filled. But the other normal springs, I'm sure, because we have done interviews with our women, they are saying we take 10 minutes filling a jerry can, but you have a long queue. Here, 2 minutes, a jerry can is full, another one is filling. So we feel this is better because it's natural. You're not even fighting for it because it's naturally flowing out throughout. So yeah, that's what I feel about the springs and why they are really good compared to other technologies.
Exactly. No efforts, very little lines. And the thing is, when you have the dug wells, you can't guarantee that underground water is actually clean. If it's close to a pit latrine, and if the pit latrine is not lined, then some of the waste from that pit latrine can leak into the groundwater. We've seen wells that are still contaminated that you would think are not because it's coming from underground, but you cannot guarantee that water is clean unless you know where that water is coming from. What's affecting that water. Whereas with springs, it's coming right from the ground or right from the earth, and it's going through yet another filtration process, and it's protected all the way through. You're pretty much guaranteed this is clean, rather than there being a risk of the pumped water being filthy because you don't actually know if there is any sewerage or any other kind of contaminants affecting that water. So we're about
actually, Gemma, maybe something I can add on.
Yes.
The safety element, safety. Because we have one of the springs where they're telling us a child fell in, a pregnant woman fell in. So we are looking at safety. By having this, you're not worried anyone is going to fall anywhere. Even you're happy that a child can just go and fetch without worrying. So we are looking at that component as well. And that's why we feel this is the way to go.
That's so great. All right. I have one more question because I want to actually, we don't have much time left. I don't want I want to make sure the audience has some time to ask some questions. So as I ask this last question of Godliver, if you have any questions, please put them in the feed, in the chat, and then my colleague Mia is going to consolidate them and see if we can answer as many questions as possible in a few rounds. Okay, so my last question for you, Godliver, let me stop sharing. So my last question for you, I'm going to actually ask one later, but let's talk about the men, right? I know sometimes people will ask us, why are you just focused on women? Water's a problem for everybody, right? Why? What, so why, how do you engage the men? And because, like you said, we're breaking cultural stereotypes. We're like challenging the status quo. How is it that the women are engaging the men so that the culture can change?
Thank you so much. I love that question of how are we engaging men and how is it being done? But before I answer that, I remember the first time I started constructing, I was in Moyo and the man said, I'll never get married. I'll not have kids because I keep climbing roofs and climbing water tanks. So yes, how are we doing this? So we are using the approach of our two core women. If those women explain what we are doing and the men understand and see, it's kind of, we are not giving them a lot of power to overtake the men, but we want support. We want their support. So how we have done it, we encourage our women that we train to bring along their men. Then these men become agents of change. These men now go telling other men that, hey, look, She Builds Power is training these women and they're doing amazing stuff. Please, let's support. And that's how we have managed to get men on board and even creditors. Because I remember one of the sites in Tanzania, the husband said, hey, Grace, I didn't know that you can even build stairs. And this is a man who used to undermine the wife. But that gives us credit as a program that they now understand, they now acknowledge, and they're willing to support us along so that we are working in harmony, not parallel, but I think it's just making them understand why are we doing what we are doing. Why, when we support, we have women who are saying, now my husband gives me more credit, my husband appreciates because I'm doing this. So I think it's telling them to understand that it's so important. It's okay for the woman to do what you do, even if it's more like what I'm doing. I'm really doing stuff. So yeah, but that's what I can say. Now we really have support. Men are coming on board, and that's really, really amazing.
I love that because when I'm in the field with Godliver, everyone is just surrounding her and calling her engineer Godliver and asking her what to do and what to do next. And she is the boss on all of these construction sites. Men are doing exactly what she says. She is just boss lady. All right. So thank you.
Actually, Gemma,
yes.
I have one of my colleagues, Comfort, came to Kenya on the site that we are finishing with the son. And the son saw what Auntie Godliver is doing, and he was like, Mommy, do you know she's commanding everyone, and everyone is listening? So that was really something. Like, what? How is she doing that? So, yeah.
Not only did you earn that respect, you actually deserve that respect, my sister. Okay, so I'm going to give you both. So Mia was able to sort of consolidate all the questions, and the ones that she sees the most are these two questions. So, look at the balloons. They're excited for you. The first question is, what have the biggest challenges been when you have been in the field? So that's the first question. And then the second question is, how are the women's lives changing as a result of the work that you're doing?
Okay, I'm writing down questions so that I don't forget. So the biggest challenge I've had in the field is missing my family, more especially my girl, my Rani. She's small, she's 4 years. And every time I go, she's like, hey, Mommy, you've gone, when are you coming back? But she tells my maid, my house help, that Mommy's building things. So for me, that is already something. And then I have my daughter who is now a candidate in senior 6. And for her, she says, Mommy, don't even miss us. You're a rock star. You can build. She wants to be like me. So for me, the biggest challenge was missing them, but at the same time, they were my motivation. To be honest, I really had support. I had support when in the field. We have our colleague called Rosemary, who has always been there making sure that I'm okay. I just had some small health problem with the tooth, but that still didn't stop me from kind of pushing through. So I think it's just the support and having Gemma and the team there cheering me up that kept me going. I really didn't have a huge challenge. But then how I'm seeing how women are benefiting from this, I feel I have, when I used to be in college at URDT, they used to tell us like uplifting the sleeping genius. Like we have that genius in us and then uplifting it. So how these women have benefited, I have awoken that genius in them because they already had it, but they needed a switch. And now I feel these women are going to build more. I'm very confident because Rosemary just told me one of the sites that we left, they have organized materials and they are going to build on another site. So I think they are going to bring water closer. They are changing their lives by just taking lead and continuing to change lives for themselves and also for others. And I think just knowing that Godliver is the one building, because some of them keep saying, Godliver, you inspire me. Yeah, I'm going to keep building. So I think I've inspired them and they're going to keep going and changing their lives. Yeah.
I agree. I was just, one of the things that I have loved seeing when I've been with you in the field and also, seeing all the images when I'm not with you is that because you've been doing this for, years over, we're talking about 15 years now, right? You have trained over, you and the women you've trained have trained over 12,000 people. They've trained over 34,000. So here we are talking about you as this ripple. And what I would love to see is that you've seen children grow up to be adults, and some of them are making different choices about their lives. Girls who are now, going to school, going to college, when they were children, they were saying, I want to be like you. I remember hearing that in the field. And I thought that was I think that's one of the biggest influences that you have just by being you, just being present and being a boss lady and knowing what you do and doing it more than well, doing it, beyond better than many people out there. And I think that's what I love, love, love about everything you are. You are so genuine. You are so devoted and passionate that it's so clear that you are changing your world and the world around us. So I'm going to ask you one last very quick question. What is your advice to women all around the world to be able to do what you are doing? You're uppowering. You called it uplifting their genius, right? We call it uppowering, and and powering women up so they can be influential, so they can make change. What is it? What piece of advice can you give to everyone here?
The piece of advice I can give to everyone is, first of all, believing in oneself, because that used to pull me a lot. But now, believing in oneself, loving what you do can push you miles. And then also, it's not about you. Can you also uplift? Can you empower another woman? Can you empower another person next to you? So that when you're happy, she's also happy. When the family is happy, the other one's family is also happy. And then also, I would say not to give up, because if I gave up, I wouldn't be here. It's just keep rocking whatever you're doing, just keep going. Because you never know, at the end of the tunnel, happiness may come and you're like, wow, I almost gave up. So that's the advice I can really say. Everyone, whatever you're doing, just keep rocking, keep believing in yourself and keep trying, but also helping the neighbor. Yeah.
Amazing. That's your ripple effect. You are the single drop that created a huge wave around East Africa and the world. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Please give us a great big hand for Godliver. She is, like I said, one of the most amazing people you'll ever meet. I hope that, the earlier invitation. Maybe some of you would like to join us in Uganda or Kenya one day so that she can bring you around and see the kind of work that we're doing. We are so honored to have her on our team and to be spearheading all the work in East Africa. So I will say one of the questions that we also saw was, how can you help? How can people support She Builds Power and helping Godliver unleash people's geniuses all over the of East Africa and beyond? So I wanted to show you how you could help. We are inviting you to help us build the next 7 wells. So if you go to this website, bit.ly/7wells in 7 weeks, you can donate to be able to help another community build a well. And you even said, Godliver, there's somebody who's already wanted to build their second one. Are you going to go there, or are they going to do it by themselves?
They're going to do it by themselves.
And
they're
there you
already
have
confident.
it. There you have it already. It's done. The ripple effect is already happening. Help us build 7 more. We can train more women to do this all over East Africa. We would love your support. We would love, if any of you are interested, you can actually email us at hello@shebuildspower.com. .org. Again, it's hello@shebuildspower.org. You can email us there, and if people are interested, we can plan a trip together and we can show you the work that you're doing. And maybe we're going to actually have you pick up a shovel and join us. So thank you again. Any last words?
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching, and thank you for walking the journey with us. Stay blessed.
Oh, look at all the love you're getting in the feed, Godliver. Thank you. You're a rock star. Oh my gosh, of course. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone. For those of you who are new, I'm hoping this inspires you to think about what's possible in East Africa for women to be able to solve their own problems. For those of you who have been here and donated to us, this is the work you supported. And if you love what we did here, please feel free to help us with the next 7 wells. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And we hope to see you soon. We'll probably send you an email right after this just to thank you for coming. And we are thrilled that you are now part of our She Builds Power movement. Thank you, Power Builders. Oh, wait.
Thank you.
Say what you say. Say what you say, Godliver. A woman.
So when we want to motivate, cheer everyone to keep them going, we say,
yes.
And then you have to say, my hand shape the future.
Excellent. Why don't you do it?
Say, my hands shape the future.
The future. That's right. They shape the future indeed.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.